Good evening, and welcome again to Public Perspective. I'm your host, Kevin McDermott, and tonight we'll be talking about one of the hottest topics in Washington, job creation. How do jobs get created in the economy? And we'll be looking at a specific type of job creation in small business. How do you get started in small business, and where do you look for money? Our guests tonight are the co-founders of Cornerstone Angels, a group that exists in order to help small businesses raise money. Michael, Larry, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
So, Michael, let me start with you. Cornerstone Angels, first of all, what are angels? Who are they? What do they do? Why are they important?
Well, we're not little folks walking around with halos on our head, number one. Angels are usually successful entrepreneurs, business folks who have made enough money such that they're willing to and have the money to invest in other companies. And by the SEC definition, they meet certain thresholds of either assets over $1 million or income threshold above $200,000 for an individual or above $300,000 with a spouse.
And that makes them, I think it's called a qualified investor.
They're an accredited investor.
Accredited investor,
Yeah,
and the
correct.
Securities and Exchange Commission says
Correct.
that only those accredited investors are allowed to be solicited for these kinds of things. Is that how that works?
Well, actually, folks who don't meet those qualifications could still invest, but by meeting those accredited investor standards, it lessens the obligations for the company for disclosure and other things that they need to do. So it makes it much easier as a company's raising money to get these accredited investors, because as a company grows and it tries to reach out to more institutional capital, like from venture capital and private equity, they typically want to know and make sure that there are accredited investors that have already been invested in that company.
Well, so Larry, what is Cornerstone Angels then? What is the group, and how did it get started?
Cornerstone Angels is a membership organization, and it comprises these accredited investors that Michael just referred to. And our goal is to assemble as a group, review opportunities to invest in promising early stage companies in the Chicagoland area, and to select those that look like the most appropriate growth opportunities, and then our members invest in those on a case-by-case basis.
So what's the advantage of having a network like that? I mean, I would think these are individual investors. They probably know people. They would be approached by people. So what advantage is it to the investors themselves to become part of a network like that?
Sure, there's a couple. I'll answer one. I'll let Michael answer one or two of the others. First, by gathering as a group, it's a lot more efficient for the company. Instead of presenting to one investor at a time and trying to raise money that way, they get to present in front of 30, 50, even 100 people at once, and as a result get exposure to their company among many people, and then have a chance of receiving an investment from multiple parties. There's an advantage from the investor side as well. I'll let Michael talk about that.
From the investors, obviously, if you're a rich individual, you get hit up, just like as you're saying, by a lot of folks.
Right.
A lot of folks are looking for favors, and it's not usually the best way to make an investment by just doing a favor for someone. So a angel group is one way for you to sort of defer making that decision, to say that you have to answer to a higher authority. It has to go through a process. The angel group has a multi-step process for evaluating and screening opportunities. You could say it's up to the group to make the decision. And so that allows you as the individual investor to allow a process. And as Larry said, there's then a wide swath of different individuals with different experience sets, which could help vet that opportunity. And the more minds and experience that you have looking at it, hopefully you make a better decision.
All right, so it helps the investors tremendously because this has been through some level of screening before they even see it, right?
Yeah.
And then how does it help the people who are looking for money?
Well, just the idea that you're exposed to multiple parties, multiple potential check writers at one time.
Is there anything that for, I think people starting out in business, they've got a great idea, they want to take this forward, and they may have no idea how to do that, or even how to approach someone who might fund it.
Right.
They might not know what to say, what to present.
There's an element of that too, and in fact, part of our mission at Cornerstone, beyond investing in companies, is to educate. And we find several companies that come through our process, and sometimes on the first try they don't make it through our multi-level screening. process, but on the second or third try they do. And so they learn from that process. So by having a rigorous process that we apply to all companies, they learn from that as well. They improve their presentation skills. They improve their ability to communicate their business in a way that investors appreciate and understand. And that will help them in the future as they go from angel investing potentially to venture capital investing, private equity investing, and beyond.
Yeah, so one thing that we do allow is for prospective companies is to attend some of our investor meetings, even in advance of them getting involved, because we always believe in sort of see before you buy, get to know, see what the process is like, see who the investors are, and some what's amazing is a lot of these entrepreneurs, they could be seasoned executives, could have done really well in another professional life, but by starting a business and doing it on your own is quite different. And when they realize and experience what it's like to go in front of an audience, having to present, having to tell your story in a concise sort of 10 minutes. It depends what part you're in the process, but in the early part of our process, you only have 10 minutes to tell your story.
Really, and that's not exaggeration.
No,
you give them 10 minutes.
10 minutes. You got to tell your story in 10 minutes, and that's incredibly hard. So you need to think through what's the big idea. What are you doing that's unique and different, and compelling? How big is the opportunity? Why are you the right team to do it? And so they learn very quickly, oh, maybe I'm not ready for this. Or they hear these hard questions about how much money is you as a founder, have you put into it? What's the big opportunity? How much money? How am I going to make my money back? And they realize, oh, you know what? I don't have an answer to that. I need to go back. I need to rewrite my business plan. I need to be able to better tell my story. I need to build up my advisory board. And as part of this whole process, with Cornerstone, we're helping them see where those gaps are, and hopefully next time they come to us, they can make a better presentation.
So it makes me feel like I'm almost cheating here. I'm giving you guys 30 minutes to talk about Cornerstone Angels. Should I cut this to 10 and just maybe give me the real short and sweet?
Well, to relate it to people that haven't been to one of these sessions, there is a TV show called Shark Tank, which is kind of like American Idol for businesses, if you will. And that's not too dissimilar to our groups. They're not, we usually don't write checks on the spot, so that's one difference. Another key difference is our group isn't comprised of all Simon Cowells. It tends to be a little bit more subdued. But there is very tough questions that are asked. And so I've had very experienced entrepreneurs come to our sessions in that idea of seeing before they apply. That came out saying, oh my Lord, I have my work cut out for me. And some of these are people that have been very successful previously, but haven't actually raised money through an angel network or from angel investors. Perhaps their business was previously funded from friends and family or debt sources or other sources. So even for very successful people, it can be a challenge to adapt to this environment, and it does take some time.